Okay, we are back with the Robert Davi program. I am Brian Oxman sitting in for Robert Davi, and I want to talk to David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital, the really best of the best to turn to when you've got questions about the capital structure of our markets, about investing in gold, and also about what's going on in this crazy economy. Hey there, David. Welcome to the show.
Well, as always, thanks for having me, Brian, on the Robert Davi's program today.
You bet. The stock market is up, unemployment is down, and Donald Trump is just thumping about how great things are. He gave a speech today to small business leaders at the White House, and he said, look at this economy. I mean, I felt like, the future is so bright, I got to wear shades. Donald Trump really made a case today.
He did, and that's great. He took away a lot of regulations that the previous administration put in place, such in the oil industry and what's going on in North Dakota. Trump removed a lot of that, so we have a lot of deregulation from the government going on. Trump's helped small businesses, and just the fact that he did that alone is one sure evidence why he can make that speech in all confidence. Just a little caution, though, to President Trump. If he's going to make the case on how great the stock market is and it going up, he's going to actually own it on the backside when it corrects, too. So I don't know if I'd want to tie myself to that directly.
I mean, guys like you, and this is why I turn to you, David, because you're always there with the word of caution. Things are pretty good here. We didn't get the health care bill passed, and that is very important to getting the tax cuts passed, because without the health care bill saving the money to pay for the tax cuts, we got problems. How's that all going to shake out?
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit different than the health care. He relied heavily on Congress for the health care, and he kind of asked Congress to put that all together. The tax code and cuts are a whole other different breed. Him and Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, are the ones that are really at the heart of the matter and the one that are leading the charge in this. So I don't think, President Trump's going to let this one go by like he did with the repeal and replace Obamacare. Although that's not totally dead, he's vowed that he's going to come back and revisit that, maybe at the future, maybe after we get tax cuts done. But, so far the Democrats are Chuck Schumer's giving an invitation to President Trump to upstate New York. He's also said in a letter, which has a significant amount of Democrats and two independents saying that they want to work with Congress to get a tax bill relief act in place as long as they don't give the wealthy a tax break and a few other initiatives in there. They want to make sure it's there. But we could actually have a tax bill done as a major first piece of legislation. I think that will actually help the stock market go up even more.
Unbelievable. Now, for the last 2 months, there's always been, literally every day, every week, there's a prominent hedge fund investor, not Scaramucci. Scaramucci, he sold all of his hedge fund, and he made a pretty penny with that. But the hedge fund leaders have been saying, watch out, we're in for a correction. Be careful. What do you see there?
Well, every week we talk for the last 8 weeks, maybe it's 9 now. There seems to be somebody prominent coming forth. But as time goes on, it's not just one. It's gathering steam. There's a half a dozen of them now, just this week from last week. But a couple of them that are legendary. One person, his name is Seth Klarman. He runs a group called Baupost, which is considered to be one of the greatest value investors in history. He is over 30 years experience from 1982 to 2015, and he's averaged 16% returns. That's pretty remarkable when the national average is 7%. He's averaged 16, and he's only had 2 years where they didn't have a positive return. So considering he had 30 to 50% of the hedge fund always in cash, those stats of 16% is remarkable. So when he says something, people listen. Late last week, he said that the market is moving speedily, propelling for a market crash. Once the snowball starts running down the hill, watch out. And what he's referring to is a new, it's not brand new, it's been going on for the last 20 years, but it's gained momentum where computers are trading stocks now with algorithms, and they're being automatically triggered based upon those algorithms, not sound fundamental judgments that a human would do. And they're doing, microsecond trading. That all works great when the market's moving up, but when the market slows down or corrects, it's going to work against us, and that's what Seth Collerman is referring to. Another person who is almost always in the news, Mohammed El Iran, who is the chief economic advisor for Allianz, he writes in his most recent newsletter that came out last week that he raises serious doubts about the sustainability of the current bull market in stocks. And he's talking about the liquidity aspect that is not there like it usually is, also citing these computers that are trading on algorithms. And then a third person runs the largest wealth fund in Singapore, $354 billion in assets, came out early this week, yesterday, actually Sunday night our time. He's warning that the evaluations are stretched and policy is uncertainly high, and investors have become too complacent, which reminds me of kind of how it was in the tech rally and the tech crash in year 2000. There's a lot of investors are saying that. Similarity.
A bubble. Unbelievable. I mean, this kind of expertise that you have, David, where do people go to get in touch with you?
Well, they can call our company the old-fashioned way at 855-747-5947 or go to our website at landmarkgold.com.
I mean, it is a bubble, which we are in the middle of, and the question is really how long does that bubble last? And it seems that countries like China, they sort of sense this, and they are buying up gold at an incredible pace. What is behind the Chinese move, and why do they think that gold is the place to go?
Well, there's no question we're in a bubble. It's not a matter if it's going to pop. It's a matter of when and how hard. The longer we wait, the bigger the bubble and the more downside we will have. China is not investing necessarily because of the bubble, but that might be a part of the new contributing factor. But China wants to compete with the U.S. dollar, and to do that, they need to back their currency called the yuan by gold. In 2005, to put in this perspective, I'll just give you a short brief of this, and then we'll probably need to go to a break. But in 2005, they said they were going to buy 1,000 tons of gold, and in 5 years, they accomplished that and had 1,000 tons of gold. That year was 2010. In 2011, they announced they wanted 10,000 tons of gold.
Oh, my.
And they want that in 10 years. And after the break, I'll tell you what happened and where they're at since then.
Oh, you know that they are hoarding gold without a doubt. It is probably the most sound investment that you can make. Go to David's website. It's landmarkgold.com. You can call David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital, 855-747-5947. That's 855-747-5947. David Fischer with Landmark Capital. I'm Brian Oxman, sitting in for Robert Davi. Stay back, and we're going to be coming back with David Fischer. See you in a second. We are back with the Robert Davi program. I am Brian Oxman, sitting in for Robert Davi. We're talking to David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital. You can give David a call at 855-747-5947. That's 855-747-5947. Or you can go to Landmark's website. It is landmarkgold.com. And David Fischer is with us. David, we were talking about China. They're buying up gold. They are a major force. Who would have thunk that this third world country, from when Richard Nixon went over there to open up China, they were backward. Now they seem to be controlling an awful lot. What's China doing with their funds?
Well, they think in terms of decades and legacies, not what's going to happen 2 months from now like most U.S. people do. Unfortunately, it's not worked in our advantage that way. And China, like I said, took from 2005 to 2010, accumulated 1,000 tons of gold. First time they bought gold. From 2010 till now, they said they wanted 10,000 tons by the year 2021, and So we're about 5 years away from that. And so far, they have a little over 4,000 tons, is what one entity reports. I think they're going to get their goal, though, but they've been embraced into the special drawing rights of the International Monetary Fund, which is only 6 countries in the world are involved in. So that's a big feather in their cap. They are moving aggressively, and one way they're having the money to do this, unfortunately, they're selling their biggest asset, which has been Treasury bills. To put into perspective, in 2005, they had somewhere around $7.8 to $8.1 trillion in U.S. Treasury bills. Now they have somewhere around $3.4 to $4.1 trillion in treasuries. They've halved it, and they're continuing to sell treasuries at a record pace. The fastest country in the world that's selling treasuries, unfortunately, and yet they were the biggest buyers of our treasuries over 10 years ago for decades. So they're seeing a problem, and they're responding to it. The problem is our national debt, our debt structure as a country, and they don't want to be left holding the bag. So they're limiting that. They're buying gold. They're trying to set themselves up for the future. Many people feel that we're headed towards some dilemma, some trauma, financial trauma around our debt. And if we don't take care of this, this is a matter of when and not if anymore, just like with the stock market correcting. And so This is what countries do, is they go to gold, and individuals should follow in the same footsteps if they believe the same types of things.
I mean, China is not the only one, and there's countries that are saying gold is really the safest investment. You are involved in this up to the limits of really the neatest kind of ventures. You are giving away you're giving away free ounces of gold. Tell me about the giveaway that Landmark Capital is doing.
Well, it's 3 ounces of silver. Actually, we got 2 giveaways going on, Brian. If you invest $25,000 or greater, either through your IRA or what we call over-the-counter, which is non-IRA money, you're going to not only receive that medal, but you're going to receive 10 free ounces of silver if you purchase $25,000 or more in the trade.
Can I get the gold? I always wanted the gold.
Well, for you, Brian, we probably could work out something special.
All right, okay.
You guys are twisting my arm. Maybe I'll do a special gold offer in the future, but
I think that's up next. You bet. So how do you go and do this? What do you have to do in order to sign up for the program?
And learn about it and get our information pack in. They're going to have questions, and we will help them. And if they choose to invest and there's no pressure working with their company, we want to give them an incentive. This has to happen, though, between now and September 29th. Give them some time there. So a couple months they have, but don't dilly-dally because gold is creeping higher right now. The second offer, though, is if you want to enter into a free drawing for 10 free ounces of silver, not gold, silver, and they want to go to our website at landmarkgold.com, or they can call us at our phone number 855-747-5947 and get signed up for our new free newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter which will help you learn about gold and silver and economics. So if you do so and enter into the section where you can type in a comment there, comment why you think owning precious metal is important to you. Then you're going to be entered along with the rest in a free drawing, and that drawing will take place live on this show on August 14th. We're going to announce the winner.
How fun. That would be so neat. People they love gold. They can't get enough of it. And over the weekend at the U.S. astronaut Neil Armstrong Museum in Ohio, thieves broke in and they stole a little 5-inch statue of the Lunar Excursion Module, which was given to Neil Armstrong for his landing on the moon. They wanted that little statue so bad. Why do people want gold so much, David?
Well, that statue is an honoring Apollo. Who knows how much it's worth? They don't even know how many ounces of gold it is, but it's probably worth several hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million. Just the bag from the moon that collected the moon rocks sold last week at Sotheby's for $1.8 million. Just the bag that carried the rocks. But But gold is worth more than rocks, and gold is valuable. It is the asset people go to when there's uncertainty. So if you believe we're moving into uncertain times and the market's going to correct, call my company, get some education, learn about how to diversify your portfolio, because gold went up 72% the last major market correction we had in 2008 in the first year, and it doubled in 4 years. But this time we have a bail-in, and this is why you need to diversify. They want to take our money.
The bail-in. I want to ask you about the bail-in. You want to stay over to the next section, and we'll talk about the bail-in and what they're talking about, freezing bank accounts in the European Union, which they announced over the weekend. David,
absolutely.
So important. Okay, David Fischer, he is the CEO of Landmark Capital. You can go to his website, landmarkgold.com, 855-747-5947. That's the number to call, 855-747-5947. Stay back. I am Brian Oxman, and I am sitting in for Robert Davi here on the Robert Davi Show, and we're talking to David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital and really one of the most knowledgeable guys about the gold market and financial markets. And David, I was asking you about what the European Union announced over the weekend about seizing bank accounts. You've been talking about the bail-in of actually seizing investors' bank accounts, and oh my goodness, we're getting kind of close to it. The European Union says that's what they're going to do. What happened there?
Well, they've already done bail-ins in 8 countries in Europe already in the last 5 years. There's been 9 bail-ins around the world. The 9th one is Argentina. But obviously that was not enough for Europe, because over the weekend, Otmar Issing, who's a former chief economist and one of the architects of the actual euro, he's a member of the board of the European Central Bank and also on German Bundesbank. So on the inside guy, over the weekend, he had an interview with a business news magazine out of Germany called I don't know if I can pronounce this right, Wirtschaftswoche. Anyway,
easy for you to say, right?
Yeah, I've got something caught in my throat. He issued a warning that there's going to be a new flare-up possibly happening in the Eurozone. A crisis, he says, and it might evolve around Greece, where he actually is saying that Greece it'd be good for the euro if Greece would Grexit, get out of the euro, or at least have a sabbatical. They're trying to contain it. So that's the precursor. Then the very next day, that was on Saturday, Sunday, the announcement comes out from the European states that they're considering measures that would allow the European Monetary Union, for them to temporarily stop people from withdrawing money from their bank accounts. Think about what they just announced, what that would actually do. What they don't want to happen, they're actually going to create, is what the article is saying, the proposal of this. There already is this in place, though, of a 2-day bank suspension. They want to amend the plan and give it at least 5 days suspension, and then a segment of the Euros, the majority segment of the board, actually want to extend it to 20 days under what they call exceptional circumstance. I'm going to chime in now. I think no matter what environment we get involved in, a 2008 environment, they would classify that as an exceptional circumstance. If there was a bank run, they're going to label that as an exceptional. So they want to hold your money for 20 days. Can you imagine not being able to access your money in the United States for 20 days, Brian? That is insane just to even think about that. This is what they're announcing.
Shades of Mr. Potter and It's a Wonderful Life and the runs on the banks. I don't know if that is the reality, but there certainly is a correction coming, and the place to go is Landmark Capital. Tell me about the incentives and the giveaway that you're giving, David, to get people to recognize that gold is the place to go.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have a bank run or not, but just them talking about it says that there's an underlying problem. We got 2 free giveaways. If you invest $25,000 or greater, either through an IRA or over the counter, you're going to receive 10 ounces of free silver. for that purchase of $25,000 plus your metal, but the trade must be placed before September 29th, which gives you time to get some information, literature, and also ask some questions and develop a strategy that we will help you out with. And the second giveaway is for people who call us today or go to our website at landmarkgold.com, sign up for our monthly newsletter, which talks about metals and economics, and enter your comments in the section there. You have to do both. Why you think precious metals is important to you and owning them. This will enter you in a free drawing for 10 free silver ounces, 10 free ounces of silver. I speak for a living. And the drawing is going to happen on Robert Davi's program, Brian, on August 14th.
Fabulous. You can go to landmarkgold.com and make your entry. You can call David at 855-747-5947. That's 855-747-5947. And David, you got some really interesting literature on your website, the coming bail-in, and your IRA having physical metals and taking possession with no tax liability. Tell me about what you can get when you go to your website.
Well, they can fill out a form, and they'll get those pieces of literature information sent to them. The one white paper is a bail-in. It's an 8-page, and it's 6th edition now, on how the details have been set up, laws have been passed to implement a bail-in in the United States that's modeling the 8 ones that have happened in Europe. And you'll see all the financial institutions, the FDIC, the International Monetary Fund, all the people involved, even the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which actually heads the whole thing up, and the pieces of the puzzle. It's pretty shocking. You can Google all the terms, and you'll see how this is all well documented. They can get that. They can get a Changing Directions and Changing Times, which talks about the 6 major different markets and metals you can get involved in, what they do, what they don't do, and learn a little bit about Landmark Capital and how we are different from most of the rest. You got a report on IRA and buy physical gold without a tax liability and take possession of that. And we have a white paper on that also.
You got a report on Dodd-Frank, which is becoming in the European Union a reality. What does that mean?
Yeah, the Dodd-Frank is in the white paper on the bail-in, because that's the law that started this whole process that was passed in 2010 that changed the legal ownership, and it explains that. A lot of people don't even understand the Dodd-Frank, so we talk about that in depth, why it was created, when it was created, and by whom, and now the ramifications of that. It's pretty startling what that law has done to our country.
It is, without a doubt. And David, I sure appreciate you coming on the show. I always learn so much, and it is just fascinating. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. God bless America.
Oh, you're not kidding, and boy, we sure need it. It's David Fischer. He is the CEO of Landmark Capital. You can call David at 855-747-5947 or go to his website. It's landmarkgold.com. Call him. 855-747-5947. I'm Brian Oxman, sitting in for Robert Davi. I want you to stay with me, and we're going to be coming right back.